Anna, welcome back to the show. I'm glad to have you here. Remind everybody what you do.
I'm Anna Reger. I'm on a mission to make schools safer, and I'm the founder and CEO of FlipLok.
Very cool. So, in addition to being the founder and CEO of FlipLok, since the last time I talked to you, you have given a TED Talk. Tell us about that.
Oh, that was it was nerve-wracking, but I put my issues aside because I know that I'm speaking for the greater good of my mission, which is to educate people about school safety. And so for me, it was I have to do this. I have to get out there, even though it was so uncomfortable and it was very nerve-wracking. I said, every platform I can go on, I need to go on. And so I did. And it was good. I feel like I did a good job for my first time speaking on a platform like that. But you learn from your mistakes. You won't make the same mistakes twice. So I feel like, the next one will be better than the last one.
Very cool. And it was great for you to have that opportunity to be able to share because you were talking about school safety, right?
That's right. I was talking about school safety and, all that thing, a lot of the things that are out there for our children, but I think a lot of people don't realize what's not out there for them.
That's a good point. What people don't know is a lot. And I have learned that since starting the Secure Dad. I have learned a lot of things that I did not know were out there. So yeah, that's cool. Um, so you are in the home security industry. And do you feel like now people are starting to take home security seriously? Is that a trend that you've seen? Because I kind of feel like from my point of view, I've seen people become more interested and um, be intentional about their home security. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think now people are becoming more aware of things that can happen. A lot of people are oblivious to the fact that somebody can't come into your home and something can't happen in your home. We want to think it's our sanctuary. We want to think that it's impenetrable, but the truth is it's not. And there's somebody that could be following you, watching you, trying to figure out how to get to you. And I think everybody is now with internet and all the videos and things that are out becoming more aware. And in that, they're starting to take home security a lot more it's a big approach to security because people didn't think about it before. I know I hate to, I'm not trying to say one way or the other as far as sex, but when you're a woman, as a woman, I feel like we feel a lot more vulnerable because you're a man, you go home, somebody comes in your house, more than likely you feel like, hey, I can handle it, right?
Right.
Somebody comes into my house, I'm like, I'm 5'2", 115 pounds on a good day. What am I going to do, right? So for women, it's a bigger vulnerability, right? A lot of women live on their own. I have children that live on their own. And so for us, it's a lot more serious because I don't feel like I can take a guy like you down. I just don't think I could do that, right? Even on my best day with my best high heel, it's not gonna happen, right? And so I think for women, we always have this sense of vulnerability, right? And the more we're made aware of it, the more it becomes something like, oh my God, I really need to think about what am I doing for home safety and home security when I get home. What if somebody comes to my door and they push their way in? I'm not going to be able to hold you out, and what if somebody's bigger than you, or bigger than me? It's a reality. And it's just the scary world that women personally live in.
I agree. I think there's a lot of people who, would echo those exact same sentiments. And I'll say this as a man, I have done physical training for self-defense. I've done tons of stuff with home security. I've trained in situational awareness, even got to train with Tony Blauer for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, I don't want to fight somebody off in my house.
Right.
That is the worst case scenario
Mm-hmm.
that you as a parent can be faced with. That's not the goal. So I am thankful that I can take precautions to actually fortify my home so that I can keep people out, which gives me the ability to respond, to leave, to gather weapons if I need to call the police to get them there. So yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I don't want to have to fight somebody off in my house. And I think that's the wise decision is to try to do everything that you can to keep somebody out.
Exactly. That's the point. Like you said, you have kids at home. The last thing you want is somebody in your home with your kids. I mean, we're so vulnerable when our children are involved, right? And so it's like, what can we do to make them safer? For me, it was, of course, FlipLok, and then I have one in all my kids' bedrooms. Here if they're home, everybody can secure their room, like you said. It just buys us that time, to be able to do what next steps we need to do, right? there's not there. That's the most important thing we can do is what can we do to secure the parameters of every room or home so that in the event somebody unfortunately does get in, what are our kids going to do? You have to think about that. Like, what are your kids going to do? For us, we have a safe word. We have certain things that we do. If somebody got in our home, we have a certain place that we meet, and they don't come out unless there's a certain word said, or these kind of things people don't think about until it's too late. Just like with school safety for me, I didn't think about it until it hit home. I don't want to think about it after the fact, right? So I think being proactive is really the way to be in any situation, man, woman, child, whatever that is. We have to empower all of our people. We teach our kids, most people, don't open the door when I'm not home. Don't answer the door when I'm not home. But sometimes kids do, and what do they do in that situation? And what can we do to really reiterate to them that, how scary and dangerous it is?
Right. I completely agree with everything that you just said. I am so glad that you are taking the precautions personally that you're doing and that you're telling me and telling my audience this as well, because it's the same things that I've been talking about. I like your password. I like that you have the flip lock on the interior doors as well, and that your family is prepared as much as they can be
Right.
for a really scary situation. Because a lot of us will think, oh, we'll imagine, somebody breaks into the house. Now, this is what I would do. But the actual reality of what that is, unless you have prepared for it, just like with an emergency plan to escape your home in the event of a fire. You
Mhm.
have a fire escape plan, for your family, usually, because everybody
Yes.
understands that. But I'm glad to hear that you are talking to your family about what to do in the event of a home invasion.
You have to. I mean, we've had, I mean, in Houston, it's a big city. We've had, people that we've heard that that's happened to. I mean, people have been followed home. Their children have been followed home. And that's another thing, you need to teach your children when you're driving home, be aware, pay attention. Is somebody following you? If you're not sure, pass up the house, go around the block, then go home. There's things that we can do because our children are getting older. They're driving on their own. And a lot of times they don't think to look in the rearview mirror. But if you take a minute before you get to the house, make sure nobody following. If you're not sure, drive around the block. That's all I ask. And if somebody is following you, go drive, call us, call the police, and have somebody escort you home, because it is a real situation. And I've had that happen to friends where the kids have drove home. Somebody came in the gate behind them and there was a home invasion or a foiled home invasion because the dad came out and was standing there and the people ran away.
Good. Yeah, that is a crime I do not like, and I've talked about. I mean, I don't like a whole lot of crimes. Just let me say
No.
that. But like, yeah, the follow home crime, and you've talked about it so well, is when somebody, like, if you go to the bank and somebody sees you walk out with a big envelope, in the parking lot, they're going to follow you to wherever you're going to find when you're the most vulnerable. And when we go home, we think, oh, we're safe here. This is my property. Nobody's going to come in here and hurt me. And as you're unlocking the door, that's when they're running out of their car from the street, and it built up that momentum. They have the element of surprise. And I hate to say it this way, but it's a crime that has a good success rate because it's
Mhm.
so fast and because it comes out of the blue like that. And I'm glad that you're talking about look and check your surroundings before you get out, even at home, to make sure that that hasn't happened. That is phenomenal advice.
Yeah, because most of the time when we get home, we think, oh, I made it home, I'm safe. But the truth is, there could be somebody watching you, there could be somebody following you. People, if you're coming home at night, don't go check your mail. I mean, come on, check your mail in the daytime, in the morning. If you didn't check it that night, check it in the morning, because people get you at the mailbox at night. They're driving, bad timing for you, good timing for them, whatever that looks like. I've heard it happen. Somebody down the street, not too far from us, went to go check his mail at night, a man, and he was, held at gunpoint, walked right into his house and robbed. And it's really scary to be in that situation when you can avoid those situations. I don't allow my kids, my boys usually put gas for me. I don't allow them to go at night. They have to go during the day. If it's nighttime, I'll put it in myself in the morning. I don't want you guys out at night putting gas. That's when most people are out looking for targets.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And one thing that I've heard you kind of saying through this is that a lot of your personal and home security is physical. Now, I know there's a
Mhm.
lot of people out there, they just want to buy a gadget that really kind of solves the problem for them. And it's great to have like a home security system. I fully endorse that.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of people who are thinking, oh, if I buy this gadget or I buy this service, that's really okay. But that's not what I hear you saying here. You're saying that a lot of this stuff is actually physical, right?
Absolutely, because you think about it, right? You got a great security camera system. So what you got is great security footage of somebody robbing your house, holding you at gunpoint, but you need something that's analog. You need something that you can go in there and you can lock and you know it's going to lock. But you don't want to be reliant on Wi-Fi. I'm in Houston. We've lost power. I mean, there's streets with zero power. And now you have people that are out looking for targets, looters, whatever you call that. And a lot of people stay at home. They have small generators. They can stay home, but your camera system is no longer active unless you have backup batteries. And even then, what is that going to do for you when somebody's at your door trying to come in and you have your family in there?
Right. And to let you guys know, we are recording this in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. With that's the hurricane, right?
That's right.
And so like
Yes.
Houston has, as we were talking earlier, just been devastated with power outages and all
Mhm.
sorts of service outages. So yeah, absolutely great point.
Yeah, I just think we have to be more aware. And I'm happy about your podcast. I really enjoy it. I know that you try to make everybody aware of things and see things differently and maybe get a different perspective or just a different point of view that we never think about, right, until after the fact, right? And then, oh, I wish I could have, would have. But if we do these things now and you're educating people, then I think we can save people from having to go through those types of situations.
Right. What I really do with this podcast is I find things that I think are interesting or surprising, and I try to share it with people to try to open up their eyes, just like, we're doing now. Like I just came across one the other day that is people are putting out fake parking tickets with QR codes on them. And so
Oh,
they put it on the window, you scan the QR code, you put in your credit card or whatever, you think you're paying the parking fine right there, but you're not. It's actually like you have to go and verify your parking tickets now. So like I
wow.
just like it's a part-time job just to keep yourself and your family safe now. And so that's why I'm thankful for everything that you have said on the podcast. I appreciate FlipLok so much. So yeah, like it's a lot now.
It's a lot. Yeah. And not only that, your mail, you have to worry about somebody stealing your mail because identity theft. And there's so many things now. But like you said, we can start with our home. Let's make our family safer. And then we can work our way out.
Absolutely. So, in kind of working our way out of the home now, we've talked about that you are a huge advocate for school safety. What are the big things that we need to be looking for in 2024 to help make our schools safer for our kids?
I think we need to really push for interior door locks on every classroom that children can use that can be used by anybody in a wheelchair, on crutches, a pregnant teacher, an elderly teacher. We need to make this something that is easily accessible to every single person in the classroom. I don't think that we should allow or have where one person is the person that can lock the classroom. I just don't. We're doing a disservice to that one person, which is the teacher or the students in the class. But if you think about it, there's a real thing. It's called fight or flight, right? Some people go into action, some people don't. Teachers are not trained military people. They're
Right.
teachers. And if they don't go into action, it's not their fault. But what is our fault as a society and community is not giving the proper tools for anybody in the classroom to be able to secure that door. And stacking desks against the doors, it should not be an option in the United States of America, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you talked about having a door lock in the room. Obviously, FlipLok makes a school version of the FlipLok. Tell us a little bit about that and why it's different from the ones at home.
So the one for schools, I made it 6 inches. It's red because, everybody knows red is an emergency use device. Emergency, we know to use it in emergency. And when all your fine motor skills leave your body, I want them to know, like, this red thing, I know exactly what to do. And all they do is flip it, it drops, it locks into place. It's patented, but when it locks into place, it says really big lock. It says locked really big. And then it also says call 911. It's got a call 911 on the lock itself, because when our children are doing these in this situation, they're under duress. They're not thinking of the next action step. And many times when I was doing my research, they were recording the person on the other side of the door. They weren't thinking they needed to call for help. And as a mom, we have to remind our children, right? We have to give them the reminders in those emergency situations because, their cortex is not formed. A lot of part of their brain is still developing. They need to be reminded. And so for me as a mom, I felt like it was my duty to make it as simple and easy and instructional as possible. And, with the school one, we have a key for emergency personnel and first responders. We've made a one motion for the fire codes, and we've actually got fire code. Harris County Fire Marshal endorsed our product. We're the only ones that have been listed on their website, and other states, Illinois, Massachusetts, we're everywhere now where we've been approved for our product.
Very good. Now, you mentioned something a second ago. You had a key for first responders, because I admit there's probably teachers listening to this podcast right now who are like, oh, wait a minute. There's that one kid I have in my classroom who's going to try to lock me out one day. And does that mean I'm permanently locked out? But you have a solution for that.
We absolutely do. And we actually recommend putting it in safety and secure places that we let the school know where to place them and who to give the keys to. So there's always a way for somebody else to get it inside the classroom, including emergency personnel and first responders.
Right. Yeah. Because there's always that one kid who is going to, like, try to do everything possible that it's in every classroom across America. Right.
Right. We did that. We started when we first created FlipLok, it was just a lock. And then we got the feedback, hey, we need a key. We created that. Then we got the feedback for some fire companies, codes. We needed to have one motion, and we did a solution for that. And so every time there's an issue that comes up, we want to be in compliance. We want to make everybody happy, and we want to make sure we're in codes and we're actually doing the same thing as they are. Fire people are just trying to save lives, and that's the same thing we're trying to do. So we need to work together with those departments to make sure that we all have the right intentions with the right things in mind based off the research they've done, the stuff that they've done over the years. And with fire, speaking of fire codes and fire marshals, I'm going to keep advocating. I think that it's time. One day, somebody decided that we needed to have a fire alert system. Well, I think that day has come for active threat situations in the United States. We absolutely need a standardized system where there's a standardized alert. The kids at the bowling alley that were deaf got shot. If there would have been a standardized alert, there would have been a unique color flashing in the background. They would have known it was a different alert than a fire. They would have known they were under attack, and they would have, even if everybody in the building doesn't know anything else, sound the alert to let everybody know there's an active shooter or threat. Everybody gets down low and starts looking for cover. At least if they get down low, then somebody can handle that person. The police or whatever can see who that person is. But when it's just chaos and there's nothing for anybody, there's no way to stop that. It's so much harder because there's so many people standing and running and scared. But if we start training people, hey, when you hear this alert, there's an active situation, get low, try to get to safety if you can. That's really, I think, important in the world and day that we're living in. So I'm advocating very heavily for a standardized system. If it's a fire, it's a fire. We all know what to do. But in this case, it's different everywhere. And I think that's unacceptable in this world now.
Right. Yeah. This is the new way that we have to, unfortunately, look at schools, and there's a whole lot of solutions that we need to take a look at. But absolutely, like, our kids need to know that, hey, this is what's going on. This is how I need to respond, because that's seems to be what's best for everybody.
Right. I mean, a standard is, I think, pretty simple. And right now every school has something different, somewhere different. I mean, to me, hotels, everybody has something different, but we don't know that, but we know if there's a fire at a hotel, everybody knows what to do, right? We all know the code, the drill. Why can we not do that now in this world that we're living in, with the world? Oh, it's not just happening at schools, it's happening everywhere.
Right. So you're kind of touching on the fact that, schools are somewhat limited in what they can do. They can only do so much. So what is it that we as parents need to do to encourage safer schools, to advocate for ourselves?
Absolutely. We're our children's biggest advocates. And I think as parents, we need to go talk to the school boards. We need to go and tell them what we need, what our children need. Our children should not be stacking desks against the door. We need to give them the right tools. And parents have the loudest voice. Parents can go to the boards. Parents can go to the superintendents. Parents can petition schools. Parents can raise money for FlipLoks, and PTAs can get together and raise the money to put them in their schools, to support their schools. So there's a lot of things as parents that we can do. And I promise you, if you tell a parent it's $10 a kid for a lock in your kid's classroom, who's not going to do that? I mean, what parent? And if some parents can't do it, another parent will pick it up. I promise you, I'd give $20, $30 for a classroom, or I'd sponsor the classroom. I mean, there's a way for us to do this. People aren't aware. People don't know until they get that alert, like I did, until, unfortunately, there's another situation. And then maybe you might think about it if it's close enough to your home.
Right. Yeah, and you raise a good point about like we can raise money for this sort of stuff. Like I have sold wrapping paper and candy bars and all sorts of stuff for, the school in the past. Why not, pick up something and, try to advocate for a safer school? I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Right. Fundraisers, we could do, something, somebody could host something. I mean, there's a way to do it. And we've had schools do that. We've had some people do that and raise the money for a certain school and make it happen. It's like, oh my gosh, Anna. And then the luck is a luck. It's not something that's going to go away in a year, it's going to last, so
That's true.
to me, it's a good investment, and it gives our kids that peace of mind, but also the teachers. It keeps our teachers staying as teachers because they're scared. They're really
Right.
scared.
And you make a good point. It's not like, this is a monthly service or anything you got to pay for. Like once it's there, it's done. You spend the money
Exactly.
one time and it's there. It's good to go. So yeah, that's a good point to consider for, administrators and for people who are making budgets and things like that.
That's right. That's right. That's what
Okay.
I think it's just, and then if you look at it over the duration of the time that it lasts for the school for the kids, the numbers work, it's just people don't think about those things. Like, they think, oh, I got a key. Some schools, the teachers have to walk outside the classroom to lock the classroom door. I'm not kidding you. Some schools, they have work orders back ordered because they can't get the door handles fixed because
Mhm.
a kid stuck a pencil in the lock, and there's just a lot of things that I've been told that have been issues that have come up. And God forbid you don't want to learn the day of you need to put your key in there that the key doesn't work.
Right.
And the truth is, have you ever tried to put a key in with your kid screaming? Now you try to
Yeah.
put a key in with the kid screaming and somebody trying to hurt you and your
Right.
students. It's just impossible to do.
Right. I have seen at my son's elementary school, like a lot of teachers would just like they would wear the keys around their neck. And so it was just always with them and always like dangled around and all that sort of stuff. But, if you have a key tucked somewhere else or you're in a hurry and you are scared, yeah, trying to put that key in the lock and even like going into like what we were talking about earlier with the whole follow home burglary thing, you're going to be under a whole lot of stress trying to get through that door, trying to lock it and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, really good points.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you. Yeah.
sure. So, if people who are listening, they want to know more about school safety because you can't just go on the website and buy the school lock on your own. Yet they have to go and do a certain thing and talk to you guys, right? Walk us through that process.
Yeah, so somebody that wants it for their school, the school usually contacts us, or somebody from the school will contact us. Usually they want to see a display or they want to get a lock, and all they have to do is contact us and we'll reach out to them right away. We'll set them up with whatever they need. If they have a number of doors, inward or outward, then we'll absolutely send them whatever they need and we'll help them through that whole process. And everybody's usually in the office. Today we're out because of a flood, but they can email us and we're always available, info@FlipLok, or any emails you see on our website, you can contact us directly for the school safety device.
Very good. And you made a good point there. You have devices that will work for doors that swing outward and for doors that come inward,
That's right.
which is a phenomenal way to look at stuff.
Right. And the key, we make sure that the key, if a school uses an inward and an outward, we make sure that the key is the same key for both. So they don't need to look for two different keys because that's important as well. You want to make sure you know exactly what to do in an emergency. You don't need to be fumbling with about two or three different keys.
Very good. Very well thought out. Very well thought out. So, Anna,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for being on the show today. I feel like we have covered so many great things during the course of this. I've absolutely enjoyed our time together. If people want to know more about you, FlipLok for home and FlipLok for school, where do they need to go?
FlipLok.com. That's FLIPLOK.com.
Very cool. Anna, again, thank you so much for what you're doing. I appreciate you advocating for kids and schools and for, home security. Just God bless you and your mission.
Thank you. And I didn't even think about it, but I didn't get to share with you yet. We're actually in embassies now. We have Secret Service contacting us, and we're
Really?
also in hospitals. Yeah. We're in
Very good.
hospital.
Very good. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good that these big companies and agencies are seeing how valuable this is. So hopefully that will trickle down to schools. So let's
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, we've got quite a few schools as well. So we're happy, and hopefully more schools will come on board.
Very good, Anna. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice talking to you.